Welcome to a new Daily Top Askreddit video. Today's topic.
What's something 99% of people do wrong but have no idea? Most people don't prioritize sleep enough. They think they can function well on little rest, but it messes with everything: mood, focus, health. I think most people know and do, but just don't sleep well. I'm up at 5 a.m. regardless of when I can fall asleep. Why don't you just sleep in? IDK, ask my brain. Drive. Apparently, about 80% of drivers think the driving is above average. That could still be accurate if the worst 20% really bring down the average. Argue. Modern media has shown us that being loud and throwing accusations around is the best way to argue. The amount of fallacies and angry vibes that I encounter when just trying to make a point is ridiculous. I hear a ton of red herring and straw man arguments as well, people not responding to actual claims being made, preferring to go off on tangents they themselves created, and then if they don't get their way immediately, they say you are just trying to win, despite never actually refuting your point or presenting a valid counterpoint. When you make a slight mistake in speech, a technicality, something irrelevant when arguing, and the other person zeroes in on it in an attempt to invalidate what you're saying. Great addition. It's a lot of, well, you said this so therefore you don't know what you're talking about, as though one misspeak defines your entire set of knowledge. And as though the other person has never misspoken in their life. There's a little stick next to the steering wheel that moves up and down. When you move it, it illuminates a light on the exterior of your vehicle that informs other drivers that you're about to make a turn, reducing the likelihood of a crash. Me, to the world, nice signal, dickhead. I also make it a point to actively let people in who use their signal. It's a lil reward for being good. Load dishwashers. Technology Connections did a good video on how dishwashers work. I've got friends who bitch about the dishwasher doing a shitty job and I think violate just about every tip this video. https://youtube.be/jhp9420livy0?c=kfz4hklck2more8. Edit, corrected channel name. The two key things I learned from those videos were, you want hot water already primed from your sink for an effective first cleaning cycle, and b, the fact there are two cycles means you need soap for both compartments. Pods can only help during the second cycle. I never had many problems with my dishwasher, but taking action on those 2 points has removed those rare occasions where something didn't wash properly. When husband or daughter load, it looks like a raccoon on meth did it. I don't complain, I just rearrange. As a mom I feel this intensely. But as a person with a broken dishwasher I'm nostalgic for the raccoon days. Reading, and I don't mean in general, but for example, when a new law, regulation is being considered, people don't tend to read the original documentation and just go by word of mouth. Same thing applies to policies, etc. It's hard to not be guilty of this. There are so many things we should read, but don't have the time or brain power to read legalese. The scary part is that lots of government officials don't even read the bills they sign. Please stop putting library books back on the shelf you took them from. It's often better to leave them neatly on a return cart, on a table, or at the front desk depending on your library. We scan books that are used without checkout to add them to our circulation statistics. It helps us prove traffic and learn which items engage the community. Flagging items as used in-house doesn't require identifying information either. It's anonymous. I just always assumed that the "do not reshelve items" sign was because the common person couldn't trust it to put it back in the correct spot. Circulation and use statistics never occurred to me. We need to get this information out to the people. Serious question that will sound snarky: how would anyone but a librarian know about this? Sometimes there's a return cart with a sign on it. If there aren't signs, staff might just ask the people they see trying to self-reshelve to put them in the preferred location instead. I agree with you, there really ought to be better instructions left out somewhere conspicuous for this. Reddit is funny sometimes. Lots of items in here that people can learn from to improve their health and well-being. And also a tip about how to improve your local library's internal statistics. Q-tips, guilty. I will not stop. They are precisely ear canal sized. I refuse to believe it's a coincidence. Q-tips recently changed the box size from 500 to 400 for the same price. Fuckers. They also changed the shaft to be weaker, may have just changed from plastic to paper or something. So now it bends if you apply too much pressure. Risk assessment. Busy worrying about low probability matters while ignoring high probability ones. If everyone in the US properly assessed risk, they'd be far more scared of cars and sitting, and far less scared of things like terrorists and sharks, for example. When my daughter was a baby I was afraid of the implications of her receiving several vaccinations all on the same day. I asked the pediatrician if we could spread them out and she agreed. Later, I realized that we made 3 car trips to the doctor's office when we could have made 1. It was much more likely that we would have been in a car accident than my daughter having a severe reaction to the shots. Interesting. Also 3 times the exposure to potential pathogens in the doctor's office. That's gotta be a close one though, as there may be some real benefit to spreading them a bit. The thing that baffles me the most for driving is when people willingly choose long daily auto commutes for slightly higher pay, or ride a e-scooter or bike through traffic every morning. Yup. Chances of your kid getting snatched by a stranger, almost 0. Yet you monitor the fuck out of them, when if they're gonna be molested, it's gonna be your relatives doing it. Not to get political, I'm gonna get political, but I made this exact point the other day to someone afraid of the daughter using the restroom because there might be trans women in it. Statistically speaking, his brothers or even he himself are more likely to harm the daughter. But fear is fear, I guess, and people can't see past that. Brush their teeth. They got too hard and it erodes the gums, increasing decay. Guilty of this. Don't use much pressure. Dentists recommend electric toothbrushes now because they do good enough on their own if you just hold them against your teeth with minimal scrubbing action. My electric brush stops working if you push too hard. Great indicator. Fucking damn it, why must Reddit curse me with a constant stream of tooth-related paranoia? FFS. Pronounce espresso as espresso. Sabrina Carpenter, help them, please, please, please. As a barista, I have much PTSD from this tears of joy. Can you express how frustrated you are? I'm looking at my fellow dudes here specifically, but boy is there a thing with not thoroughly washing. I always wondered why it seemed like I could never shower as fast as other guys I knew. It felt like there was some inscrutable life hack that I was missing where one could get fully clean in 30 seconds. Upon digging, I was horrified to discover that a lot of dudes simply don't wash their ass, legs, feet. They just let the soap run down the body and assume it's clean. The scrubbing is the mechanism that makes things clean and the soap is just there to help the water do its job. And gents, I don't know what the hang-up is with your own butt. Just get up in there and scrub your undercarriage. That's one of the worst areas for odor and bacteria, and it's just so nasty that you'd think cleaning there is gross, but just wetting down the filth and drying off is not. Do better. When my wife and I first lived together, she also noticed that I took long showers, not any longer than her mind, and she asked about it. I explained that a lot of guys don't clean themselves properly, and I could see a wave of realization about other men before me wash over her. She has had 0 objections to my routine as a result. You gotta wash your ass. Red Fox. Del the funky homo sapien. First time I was in the community shower in Navy boot camp, one saw a guy soap up a washcloth and stick it up his crack and give a good scrub. It was a light bulb moment for me, how you can do that. Years later I made sure to teach my son. It's amazing parents just expect kids to figure out how to clean themselves without actually teaching it. Haha, Navy boot camp was also an awakening for me hygiene-wise, but to the opposite effect. I saw so many girls who just did not keep themselves clean. I can't imagine the male side was any better. We all walked over to their compartment one day and the RDC goes, "It smells like a fucking GameStop in here, LMAO." Yup. Also, wear clean clothes. Nothing worse than a well-scrubbed, Axe body sprayed guy who smells like he rolled in cow shit because he hasn't washed his dungeons since the Biden administration. I'll add, I prefer the straight, I don't bathe, smell to the nostril assaulting heavy cologne with undercurrent of poop. Finish the job. I mean, I haven't washed my jeans since the Biden administration, but that's because that was less than 3 weeks ago and I don't wear those jeans every day. Not getting enough sleep. Critical thinking. Have your own thoughts about things that are happening or that you hear about. Connect ideas together, just for funsies. And compare facts with other facts. Critical thinking is when you don't simply take what you receive at face value. People seeing things that you don't aren't overthinking. They're simply thinking their own thoughts. They might be wrong, but it's good to practice anyway. Better than underthinking. Way better than taking everything at face value. What freedom of speech actually means. OMG this. Same with discrimination. There was an artist a while back who was screaming discrimination, censorship because some gallery refused to feature her art. Like they still displayed it but just didn't make it the centerpiece and spend promotional dollars on it. It's literally impossible for a company to violate the US First Amendment because it only applies to the government. And beyond that, the existence of the internet makes it even more impossible. You can put up a website and say whatever you want. Facebook and Google have no requirement to amplify your stupidity. Also, I'm surprised I've never seen anyone say this, but the citizens who shout down something they find abhorrent and offensive are also exercising their own free speech. Relevant XKCD. Left hand turns. So many people cut too soon and almost clip you while you're waiting at the red. You should go far enough into the intersection before starting your turn that you are driving straight by the time you pass my car. Driving instructor corrected me on this right away, but too many people never got the memo. Bro FR, like every time I'm at a light someone turns left like they trying to clip my front bumper skull, like just pull up a bit more and turn normal. Why is that so hard? People just don't want to turn the steering wheel in general. For some reason, I assume laziness, they try to drive by moving the steering wheel as little as possible. Tick apostrophes in the wrong place. I hate when people use apostrophes to make words plural. Most use them wrong in a hilarious way, so I'd prefer they not use them at all. Random, unnecessary apostrophes slow down reading comprehension. Next up, commas. Thanks, Ilan'll try to get better at punctuation.